So presence is something you experience and not something you can think yourself into or read into. You cannot conceptually understand the idea of presence if you have not experienced it. Hi and welcome to Lead Well. Last week we talked about presence and what it costs us when we are not present, when we're not living in the moment, when we're busy, when we're moving forward past the exit and still missing parts of our life. Today, I want to slow us down and get really clear on what presence means to me. And there are different definitions of presence. There are different concepts. To me, it's not a concept. To me, really is being in the current moment, being in the here and now, being aware of my senses, being aware of everything that I perceive, not as an idea, not as a thought, but really as a lived physical experience. So presence is something you experience and not something you can think into or read into. You cannot conceptually understand the idea of presence if you have not experienced it. And many people do that. Many people read about presence and the present moment, and they listen to people like Eckhart Tolle, and they think they know what it is. But you really need to experience it. And the thing is, it's simple. It's so simple to get present once you understand how to do it. But it's hard because it takes practice. Like everything else, it does take practice. Like you can strengthen your muscle, you can also strengthen your ability to get present. And I know what I'm talking about because to me, that was the hardest thing ever. I am a person who was 100% in her head, always thinking about 100 miles per hour. And at the beginning, especially when I started the trust technique, because getting present is a very particular way of working with animals in a trust technique, and we have a very specific way of getting there. I always thought, and I even said to others, why should I lower my thinking level? Why should I stop thinking? Me, when thinking is what makes me human, when thinking is what I can do best, probably. So this is so important that I managed to practice and I managed to experience that, hey, if I'm good at reducing my thinking levels, if I get good at switching off my thinking whenever I need to, when I do think, my brain is actually much brighter. My brain is actually much more on fire because it had this time of relief almost. It had a pause. Now, when we look at our being, a person, we could say that we have three aspects. We have body, mind, and soul. And I always say the soul, I have no idea where it is. It's everywhere and nowhere, I guess. It's not anchored in time and space. It is somewhere else. It's in the ether. So that's not something I can use. And my mind is, well, in the past, it was never in the present moment. It was always either in the past or in the future, or I would come up with different scenarios, what could happen, what had happened, or I was at home and I thought about the grocery store where I needed to go. So my mind never in the present moment. However, our body is always there. It never leaves the present moment. The body cannot be in yesterday or tomorrow. I wish, because as you know, I'm turning 60 in 2 days. So my body is here and it's 60 years old. And my body has experienced every single day and every single moment I've lived, other than my mind. The beauty of it is that I can now leverage my body as my anchor. So whenever I want to get present, I can focus on my body. Not because it's better to focus on my body than using my mind. Don't get me wrong, I still love my mind. But my body is the more reliable part when it comes to experiencing my life and living my life here and now. Because wherever I am, my body is already here. So if you want to get present, you need this access point that is already in the now. And this is what your body is for you. It gives you that access. And the other great thing is that when you do that, your body becomes your friend again. For me, again, I can tell you my own story. When I started doing more mindfulness exercises, like Neurographica, where every now and then we ask ourselves, what are we seeing on paper? What are we feeling? What are we thinking about it? And what are we experiencing in our body? To me, for full 2 years that I was really intensely drawing Neurographica, I was even in the instructor's course at that time, I could not feel anything in my body. Because as I said before, I was never in the presence. I was never in the present moment. And then I was listening to other colleagues who were drawing along. And then when they were asked, well, what do you feel? They say, oh, now my right toe is tickling. And oh, now my hand is getting warm. Oh, I feel a heat coming up. Oh, I feel freezing. Oh, I have a headache. And I looked at them and I'm like, they're all imagining that just to have something to say, because I had not a single experience in my body. And thankfully enough, I continued to work with Neurographica and then also the trust technique, because that gave me access to my body. And it did give me access to those sensations. And I can tell you now, when I draw a Neurographica drawing, I have tons of sensations that I'm aware of because I'm much more in the present. So your body is there to tell you when something gets too much, when you feel safe, when you feel unsafe, when you build tension, when the ease returns. All of this, you can get that from your body if you are able to listen. And if you're like me 5 years ago, then you probably don't get that wonderful, it's almost like a thermometer that is telling you how you feel and how you are, because the body never lies. And of course, when you're not present and you do not notice these tiny little signals, there are also early signals. That's why I went into burnout full blown, because I had not captured those early signals. I had overridden myself. I just got on my laptop and I continued working, and I did not sense anything because I was switching off my body, more or less. Feels strange to say right now, but that's how I did. And I kept going. I kept going much longer than I would have had I learned to listen to my body before that. So I could not use my body to self-correct my activities. And I could not use the feedback that my body gave me to adjust the directions I was going into. And only when I was completely exhausted when I was completely overwhelmed, I stopped. I had to stop. And I had then to learn how to listen to my body. And today it's wonderful because today I have certain signals that my body is giving me, like I have my eyelid tickling when I get stressed out. And today I notice it and I immediately react to it. So without being aware of your body, stress can escalate without you noticing it. Emotions can intensify much faster than if you would sense them in your body. And decisions can feel much harder because you don't have this feedback loop from your body that your body is giving you. So when you learn, like I have, and that's why I'm so convinced you can do that as well, when you learn to listen to your body, you will notice things earlier, you can adjust sooner, and you don't need to push through as much. So it's not about control, it is about information. My body is an information source, and it's a feedback loop for me. So what we covered is about understanding where the presence lives in our body and why thinking alone won't get you there. And next time we'll look at what happens in the nervous system and why presence changes how we think, feel, and how we respond to the things happening in our lives. So presence doesn't start in the mind. Presence starts in our body because the body is already where our life is happening. And the question is not whether you have access to presence. The question is whether you use it. You just get aware of it. And that is something that I encourage you to do over the course of the next week. Pay more attention to what's happening in your body. Every now and then, maybe you even want to set a timer. Every now and then, slow down and go through your body and just notice, where do I feel any tension? Where do I feel any heat, any temperature? Where do I feel cold? Is there any tickling? Is there anything that I notice? So that you train yourself, so that you practice to listen more. Enjoy your week and your body, and speak to you soon. Bye for now.
This was Lead Well. Now, what is the one thing that you're taking away from this episode? Please share in the comments below and do share the podcast with your friends and family, but only if you like it.